Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about Windows plus tools and let's start with the definition.
Windows Plus Tools is a skill which is dedicated to learn how to work with operation system, which is called Microsoft Windows. And tools, this is utilities and some cleaners and some other stuff, which we use in online or offline mode to improve operational system, to improve stability, performance, and to create some automations, some scheduling, and so on.
And actually, before we even start to our deep dive into different tools, why don't we learn into like another systems or like maybe another types of the frameworks that are being used in the our day-to-day life?
Good questions. For sure, I like several operational systems, and I'm ready to talk about Linux, Unix, was divided by two, and some other, but not too many people uses it. If we will talk about Macintosh OS or how it's called, Apple OS,
Mac
iOS,
OS.
Mac OS, I'm not aware of it. Yes, my wife has a notebook with operational systems, but I don't like this kind of stuff because it is very ugly. Yes, it is made for people who like pictures, but you know, when we start to see Windows for very first time, it was in the middle of 19th. We were using such a term. I don't know how to say it in English, but we were saying iconostas, like
They
icon
probably
set.
icon set
Like
or
icon set, you know, it is like a monkey interface. It is too easy to use. Previously, we were using just command line, and it was completely typing by hands. And if you don't know commands, you couldn't use it. But with Windows, everyone could be a programmer or lemmer.
and when we switch to back to the Windows Plus tools, what kind of things, what kind of utilities it consists of, or maybe there are like a different suits, or maybe we also start with the overall goal, like what kind of problems those things are solving.
Not usually problems. Usually, you will have your workplace. You will find your place to empty. For example, in File Explorer, it is it give us just one window, and if you want to cut and paste files, you will use too many buttons on the mouse or on the keyboard. But you could use, for example, Total Commander or File Manager, and you will rename, copy, or edit files in very fast mode. For example, File Manager, it is weight something like 13 megabytes only. It's very easy and very fast. If you will talk about, for example, performance of Windows, Windows is too heavy. It is going to collect data you type in. It is collect a lot of telemetry, but you will use some utilities like Windows Shutout or some other like Logic boost speed. You could switch off, I don't know, maybe 50 different services which will be disabled, and your system will work much faster.
So obviously, it seems like it's like a big hole, and the deeper you go, the more like a small and like a fine-tuned things that you can adjust there. So let's talk about the levels of complexity of the things that you possibly could do with the Windows Plus tools.
When we talk about Windows, you could use several settings which could be found in control panel. For example, you could change time for monitor or performance of your central processor unit, but it is not enough. If you will go, for example, in CC Cleaner program, it's very lovely, and it is maybe most stable optimizer for Windows. You will find that you could clean, I don't know, maybe 5 gigabytes or even more. It depends how long you using your computer with the same version of Windows. Or, for example, you could go to Reg organizer or Reg cleaner. These tools also will show you that maybe 20% of your registry is filled with some garbage, which is a result after you installing or uninstalling tools. Some tracks, some keys, some certificate which are no longer in use. Then you will for sure work with some documents, and you will think how to, for example, make a copy of the screen. And maybe you remember we were using pick utility, which is much better than scissors in Windows.
And actually, when we look into all of these utilities, it seems like what they do, they're actually clearing the trash or like making things neat after the system. So before we proceed with wondering what kind of mistakes people do, I'm actually curious, like why systems actually build this way so that you need to have additional software to make it work even better.
I will answer as a programmer. There is a joke in Russian language. It is a very old one. It is a speech of men who are unhappy with his suit. He is coming to
Atelier.
and asking, I am not happy with my suit. And these guys were talking to him. Are you have any problem with buttons? No problem with buttons. Are you have any problems with pockets? No problem with pockets. But why you have problem with your suit? The same with Windows. Windows is developing for, I don't know, in total like 50 years. And a lot of programmers were touching his fingers to this body. So no one is responsible for everything. For example, if we will talk on a hacking lesson, I will show you that Windows has, I don't know exactly, but more than 100 same procedures just to draw windows. Some windows with one button, with two buttons, with three buttons, with shadow or some other stuff, but there are so many. If you will make it alone, for sure you will use just one window. The same stuff with a lot of other. For example, one man is going to make a special button, one is making special noise, but no one responsible for whole suite. It's a reason why Windows makes so many garbage. For example, you could understand if you will go to some temporary directories that they are completely filled with unnecessary files. You know why? Because Windows, without your agreement, without your acceptance, trying to download files and using your machine as a torrent for other guys in same region. So, for example, you have an Intel processor, but you will have a lot of AMD drivers on your computer, not for you, but for other guys.
And I do believe actually to second that, the more I learn at the school, it seems that there is nothing ideal, and it probably boils down to the human nature of like being accurate and like looking into all of the small details. And apparently, the more we look at the certain things, the more we realize they're not really perfect, which gives us advantage and maybe a disadvantage in a way. It depends like how we're gonna use it. Now, if we talk about the usage, obviously there might be some sort of like a misusing of the tools. So let's talk about and highlight a couple of pinpoints there.
Yes, when we talk about utilities, there's one kind of tools, but there are a lot of others. I'm saying that never use tools which are quite new. For example, someone is programming and will say, come on, Maxim, let's try. I just tried a nice utility. For example, when we talk about TC Cleaner, it is its life, I don't know exactly, maybe for 15 years. And there is no complaints at all for this program. For example, if we talk about recognizing this program, which is written by guys from Yekaterinburg. Is it correct to say Yekaterinburg?
Yes, all of the names like this stays the way they are.
Says the same way. It can work. But maybe 20 times I was having errors and mistake with working with this program. Yes, they will fix it in 3 or 5 weeks, but anyway, you will have a damage. The same with antivirus programs. For example, my lovely is Dr. Web, Curate, but a lot of people who love stuff from Kaspersky, they are going to run KVRT, Kaspersky Virus Removal Tool. But even for my experience, several times I was damaging my computer and computer of my clients because sometimes this program finds viruses in incompletely clean files and trying to delete or to curate, but it's going to just crash Windows. You will get a blue screen and nothing will work. So just one advice: never use to new program and never use program you have not paid for.
And actually, maybe from the side of the people who not that techie or whatever, they actually might be wondering why do they need to, like they use the system, it works perfectly fine. So why did they actually need to possess this knowledge? Why exactly it could help them in their own lives?
Okay, let's talk about other stuff, not utilities for operational system. For example, DAP cleaners. There are several programs like DAP cleaners or anti-DAP. What they do? For example, you have a lot of files on your computer, and if you are never checked for duplicates, you will wondering how many do you have. For example, I am not deleting any files starting from 1991, and approximately 1 or twice per year I am running this program, and each time I found like 20 to 50 programs, the same size, the same contents, but different names. Okay, there are a lot of reasons why it's happening. For example, I rename files, starting to edit, and then forget and just go out of it, and it has the same contents. Or for example, I have collection of photography, and especially my wife, she like, I don't know how to say, machine gun man, пулеметчик.
Machine gun man.
She like a machine gun man, so she presses on her phone so many times buttons, so she has all for 1 year maybe 2,000 photos. So I ran anti-dub, and I found that maybe 20% of them are the same. So some program could not clean your system, it is called utilities, but a lot of other programs which will clean your collections of Word file, Excel file, graphical files, musical file, and video ones.
And my last question will be how knowing about Windows Plus tools would help make this virtual world a better place.
If you want to be accurate, if you want to use your computer or laptop for a very long time, you should be very patient. Let's use these programs to know how to save your files. For example, among tools, we use also archivers, WinRAR archiver or some other, and you could use them in different ways. If you just press your files and you just compressing size of it, you will have sometime missing data. But if you will make in шифрование, shipping, encryption with password, also with addition data for restoring, you will have solid backups.
А мы рассмотрели навык Windows Plus Tools и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!